Have you ever woken up, swung your legs out of bed, and felt that nagging ache somewhere in your body that just seems different? Not the usual stiffness that eases after a few steps, but something deeper, more persistent, maybe even worse than when you went to sleep? Or perhaps it's that frog in your throat first thing that just doesn't seem to clear, day after day. It's easy to brush these things off, isn't it? We think, oh, it's just age, or I must have slept funny, and often that's exactly what it is. Our bodies talk to us in different ways as we get older, and learning to listen is part of the journey. But sometimes, those little signals, especially things we notice first thing in the morning when our bodies are just starting up for the day, can be nudges telling us to pay closer attention. That's really what I wanted to chat with you all about today. We're going to talk about 5 specific morning symptoms that, while often harmless, could sometimes be early indicators of cancer, particularly for those of us over 60. Now, please hear me clearly on this. The goal here is absolutely not to cause worry or fear. Honestly, the vast majority of times these symptoms pop up, they're due to something much less serious. But knowledge is power, isn't it? Being aware allows us to be proactive about our health, to catch things early if needed, and most importantly, to have informed conversations with our doctors. It's about empowering ourselves to stay as healthy and vibrant as possible for as long as possible, enjoying our families, our hobbies, our lives. So, think of this as just sharing some helpful information among friends, looking out for one another. We'll touch on what these symptoms are, why they might appear in the morning, and crucially, what steps make sense if you notice them persisting. Let's start with that first one I mentioned, that persistent hoarseness or maybe a nagging cough that greets you right when you wake up. You know the feeling. You clear your throat, maybe take a sip of water, expecting it to go away like it usually does. But what if it doesn't? What if day after day, week after week, your voice stays raspy, or that little tickle of a cough lingers long after any cold should have cleared? This is something worth paying attention to. Think about Mrs. Gable down the street. She always had such a clear, ringing laugh. Then, for a few months, folks noticed her voice sounded gravelly, especially when she first started talking in the morning at their coffee group. She kept saying it was allergies, or maybe reflux. Eventually, her daughter persuaded her to get it checked. And while thankfully hers turned out not to be serious, the doctor emphasized that a persistent change in voice lasting more than 2 or 3 weeks really does warrant a look. Why the morning connection? Sometimes, irritants or issues in the throat or lungs can worsen overnight while lying down, making the hoarseness or cough most noticeable upon waking before things have had a chance to settle. This could potentially be linked to cancers of the larynx, the voice box, throat, or even the lungs, especially if accompanied by other symptoms like difficulty swallowing or coughing up blood. Though again, it's often something much simpler like acid reflux, post-nasal drip, or even just vocal strain. The key takeaway here is persistence. If that morning hoarseness or cough isn't clearing up within a few weeks, it's wise to schedule a chat with your doctor, just to be sure. Don't ignore your body's signals if they keep repeating the same message day after day. Another morning signal to be mindful of is pain. Now, aches and pains are practically a rite of passage as we get older, aren't they? A stiff back when you first get up, knees that creak a bit. That's often just normal wear and tear, but the kind of pain we're talking about here is different. It's a pain that's often worse in the morning, or maybe even wakes you up at night, and it doesn't seem to get better with rest or simple remedies like a heating pad or over-the-counter pain relievers. It might be a deep ache in a bone, perhaps in your back, hips, or ribs that feels worse when you first move after being still all night. Or it could be a persistent abdominal pain that you notice before you've even had breakfast. Think about my friend George. He started complaining about this deep ache in his thigh that was most bothersome when he first got out of bed. He figured he'd pulled something gardening, but it just wouldn't let up week after week. It felt different from muscle soreness. This kind of persistent, localized pain, especially bone pain that's worse at night or in the morning, can sometimes be associated with cancers that have spread to the bone, metastases, or certain primary bone cancers, though these are less common. Similarly, persistent abdominal pain noticed first thing could, in some cases, relate to cancers like pancreatic or ovarian cancer, although digestive issues are far more frequent culprits. The crucial difference is that this pain doesn't follow the usual patterns of arthritis or muscle strain. It lingers, it might feel deep or gnawing, and it's particularly noticeable after periods of rest, like sleep. If you have a new, persistent pain, especially one that fits this description, worse after rest, maybe waking you up and not improving over a couple of weeks, it's definitely something to discuss with your healthcare provider. They can help figure out the cause, which, more often than not, will be something manageable and unrelated to cancer. But getting it checked provides peace of mind. It's also worth talking about waking up feeling utterly exhausted, even after what felt like a full night's sleep. I'm not just talking about feeling a bit groggy for the first few minutes. Many of us experience that. I mean that deep, bone-weary fatigue that makes the thought of just getting dressed feel like climbing a mountain. You might wake up feeling as tired, or even more tired, than when you went to bed. This kind of persistent, overwhelming fatigue that isn't relieved by rest is different from just feeling tired after a busy day or a poor night's sleep. It can significantly impact your quality of life, making it hard to enjoy your usual activities or even manage daily tasks. Think about it. Maybe you used to love your morning walk, but now you can barely muster the energy to make coffee. Or perhaps you find yourself needing naps throughout the day, despite sleeping 7 or 8 hours at night. This profound lack of energy, especially if it's a noticeable change from your usual self and lasts for several weeks or longer, is a symptom that doctors take seriously. Why? Because fatigue is actually one of the most common symptoms reported by people with cancer. The body uses a tremendous amount of energy to fight cancer cells, and the disease process itself, as well as the body's response to it, can lead to this debilitating tiredness. It can be associated with almost any type of cancer, particularly leukemia, lymphoma, or cancers that have spread. Of course, fatigue has many other potential causes in older adults. Things like anemia, thyroid problems, heart conditions, depression, medication side effects, or even sleep apnea. It's certainly not automatically a sign of cancer, but if you're experiencing this kind of crushing fatigue that persists day after day, especially noticeable when you wake up, and it just doesn't improve with rest, it's really important not to dismiss it. Mention it to your doctor. They can run tests to look for common causes, and if those are ruled out, they can consider other possibilities. Don't just assume it's old age taking its toll if it feels fundamentally different from your normal energy levels. Your energy is precious, and understanding why it might be depleted is key. Does that feeling sound familiar to anyone? It's something many people grapple with, finding that energy dip as the years go by. But this profound exhaustion is a step beyond that. Let's shift gears slightly and talk about something a bit more personal. Changes in your morning bathroom routine. Our bowel habits tend to follow a pattern, don't they? Many people have a bowel movement first thing in the morning or shortly after breakfast. It becomes part of the daily rhythm. So, persistent changes in this routine can be a signal worth noting. What kind of changes? Well, it could be developing persistent constipation when you were always regular before, or conversely, experiencing ongoing diarrhea. Perhaps you notice your stools look different. Maybe they're consistently narrower than usual, like a pencil, or you see blood in the stool or on the toilet paper. Feeling like you haven't completely emptied your bowels after going, or experiencing persistent abdominal cramping or bloating first thing in the morning before or during your usual routine, are also worth paying attention to. I remember my neighbor, bless her heart, mentioning discreetly that things just hadn't felt right in the mornings for a few months. More straining, less regularity. She put it down to changing her diet slightly, but it persisted. These kinds of lasting changes in bowel habits can sometimes be early signs of colorectal cancer. Polyps or tumors in the colon or rectum can interfere with the normal passage of stool, leading to these symptoms. The morning connection is often simply because that's when many people have their regular bowel movement, so changes are most apparent then. Now, again, let's keep the perspective. Changes in bowel habits are incredibly common and very often related to diet, hydration, medications, stress, or conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, or diverticulitis. Blood in the stool is frequently caused by hemorrhoids or anal fissures, so please don't jump to conclusions. However, if you notice a persistent change, meaning it lasts for more than a few weeks, like ongoing constipation, diarrhea, blood in the stool, unexplained narrowing of stools, or that feeling of incomplete emptying, it's definitely time for a conversation with your doctor. Colorectal cancer is highly treatable when caught early, and screening tests like colonoscopies are incredibly effective. Paying attention to changes in your body's regular morning functions is a simple but powerful way to stay on top of your health. Another thing that might first become apparent during your morning routine, perhaps when you're getting dressed or catching your reflection, is unexplained weight loss. We're not talking about losing a few pounds after consciously trying to eat healthier or be more active. That's great. We're talking about noticing your clothes fitting much looser. Maybe your belt needs tightening by an extra notch or two, or seeing a lower number on the scale without actually trying to lose weight. It might be something you notice gradually over weeks or months, but that morning check-in with your clothes or the scale can be when it really hits you. Losing weight without explanation, especially a significant amount, often defined as losing more than 5% of your body weight. So, for example, 8 pounds, if you weigh 160, over 6 to 12 months, can sometimes be an early sign of cancer. Several types of cancer, including those of the pancreas, stomach, esophagus, or lung, can cause unexplained weight loss. Why does this happen? Cancer cells consume a lot of energy, potentially increasing your metabolism. The cancer itself might release substances that change the way your body processes food and nutrients, leading to muscle and fat loss. It can also cause a loss of appetite or make you feel full quickly, contributing to weight loss over time. I recall a gentleman from my walking group mentioning how pleased he initially was that his trousers felt looser, thinking his morning walks were paying off more than expected. But when the weight loss continued, even though his appetite and activity levels hadn't changed much, he wisely got it checked out. As with all these symptoms, there are many other reasons for unexplained weight loss in older adults, such as thyroid issues, diabetes, digestive problems, infections, stress, or even depression. But because it can be a sign of something serious, it's not something to ignore if you haven't been actively trying to lose weight. If you notice those clothes getting baggy or the scale trending downwards without a clear reason, make an appointment to see your doctor to explore potential causes. Now, having talked through these 5 morning signs, the persistent hoarseness or cough, the nagging pain worse after rest, the profound fatigue, the changes in bowel habits, and the unexplained weight loss, it's really crucial to put it all into context. Seeing one of these symptoms does not automatically mean cancer. Our bodies are complex, and especially as we navigate our 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond, they go through changes. Many benign conditions can cause these very same symptoms. The key things we've highlighted are persistence, meaning the symptom doesn't go away after a reasonable period, usually a few weeks, and change, meaning it's different from your usual baseline. It's completely understandable to feel a flicker of worry if you recognize one of these signs in yourself. That's natural. But the aim isn't to live in fear, it's to be informed partners in our own healthcare. Think of these symptoms as gentle taps on the shoulder from your body, suggesting it might be time for a check-in with your doctor. So, when is the right time to make that call? Generally, if any new or concerning symptom, like the ones we've discussed, lasts for more than 2 or 3 weeks without a clear explanation, it's worth scheduling an appointment. Don't wait months hoping it will just disappear. Early detection, if something is wrong, makes a world of difference in treatment success and outcomes. When you see your doctor, be specific. Tell them exactly what the symptom is, when it started, how often it occurs, especially if it's prominent in the morning, what makes it better or worse, and any other changes you've noticed. Keeping a little symptom diary for a week or two before your appointment can be really helpful. Your doctor can then ask more questions, perform an examination, and decide if any tests are needed to figure out the cause. Often, simple tests can rule out serious concerns and identify easily treatable conditions, bringing immense peace of mind. Remember, you know your body best. If something feels off, trust that instinct and get it checked. Taking notice of these potential warning signals is really about proactive wellness. It's about listening to our bodies with awareness, not anxiety. It empowers us to seek timely medical advice when needed, leading to earlier diagnosis and better management of whatever might be causing the symptoms, whether it's cancer or something else entirely. Staying informed helps us navigate our health journey with more confidence and ensures we can continue enjoying all the good things life has to offer. I hope this chat has been helpful, perhaps shedding light on a few things to be mindful of without causing undue alarm. It's all part of looking after ourselves and each other as we move through these years. What are your thoughts? Have any of you experienced similar symptoms or have tips for staying attuned to your body's signals? Please feel free to share your experiences or any questions you might have in the comments below. Building a supportive community where we can learn from each other is so valuable. If you found our conversation today useful, giving the video a like would be wonderful. It helps others find this information too. And if you'd like to join us for more chats about living well and staying healthy after 60, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Remember to be kind to yourself, listen to your body, and keep embracing each day. Take good care, and I look forward to connecting with you all again soon.